Hey, welcome to Monday Night Therapy with John and Todd. We're back again this Monday. I bet there are a bunch of you sons of bitches didn't think we'd show up, didn't you? Probably you Colorado people are already showing up in the comments. With this, early on before the show even starts, lock him up, put the watch in their face, baby. Okay. What is there to talk about, Todd?
The volleyball team is still the 4th-ranked volleyball team in the country. I'll tell you what, they absolutely looked awesome against Long Beach State. Did you watch that game?
I did not watch that game.
Oh, my God. I'll tell you what, this freshman group of volleyball players is just absolutely outstanding. I think that they've kind of hit it right where the guy, I don't know, out there said, maybe what Nebraska needs to do is scrap the football program, put a roof over Memorial Stadium so that we can have bigger crowds show up for volleyball.
Oh, my God. Is that where we want to go? Are we ready to just scrap the program?
Oh, fuck no. No, it's 2 games. It's 2 games.
It is 2 games. It is 2 games. 2 that were hard to lose. I just walked over before this to my neighbor. I walked over to my neighbor's house. His son of a bitch is a Minnesota Gopher fans, and he said, sorry about your Cornhuskers. And I said, fuck you. No, you're not. Son of a bitch. And he gave me that shit-eating grin. And then, them bastards with the mountains. You know what, Todd? I came to the conclusion that Colorado did not beat us.
Oh, they beat us.
Nebraska beat us. They didn't do anything. We gave them almost all their points. And by the time that our Nebraska team was still trying to play football, the defense was getting worn out on the field. And then Colorado got to run over us because, they were exhausted and our offense couldn't do a damn thing. Because our offense is we got problems.
We got major problems with the offense. And, but you play the game, and I understand. I was as frustrated as the next guy. We have a portal transfer playing quarterback that he's got to be leading the country in turnovers, and on every one of his turnovers, at least in the first half, Colorado scored. So, John, it's easy to say that we gave the game to Colorado. No question.
Yeah.
But we can sit back and we can say that the defense got tired too. I don't know. The way that Colorado started clicking in the second half, the way they started playing, the way they exploited us, our team, and they started firing on all cylinders. And I don't know that we would have beat them, if we got rid of the turnovers.
Oh my God. Oh my God. You're just look at this. Look at this. David Weiss says, I didn't think that Todd guy would show up as wrong as he was. Do you know why that is, David? Is because you're not as big a man as Todd is, you son of a bitch. That's exactly what the deal is there. We show up anyway because we're going to stand for our program and all kinds of weather and stick together, dumb fucking shit like that. There you go. So, David, he's here.
Yeah, I would have missed it. The thing about it is that I still am convinced that Nebraska has a good football team.
You are?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Urban Meyer says this is a good football team. It's a football team that continues to shoot itself in the foot.
Right.
And, I think the most frustrating thing to me is while there are some improvements, we've got the number 8 ranked defense in the country. Our defense leads the country in sacks. Take that, Colorado. So we're playing really, really well on that part of the field. Special teams have been fine.
They haven't been embarrassing.
No, they've been fine.
Yeah.
But the offense, the offense can't get out of its own way. And until they can figure that out, I'm afraid it's going to be frustrating. And there's all kinds of fingers being pointed.
I did a video in my bathroom in the second game of the season when my goal was to never do another video in my bathroom, Todd. I know we all make choices, don't we?
Well, and there's other factors at play, and I think we need to acknowledge that. I mean, Linda hasn't helped us out. Linda
Wilkins says, "Hey, I just want you to know that I have worn my Man-Killing Mastodons t-shirt twice, and we are 0-2. What is up with that?" The Man-Killing Mastodons t-shirts are for the off season. They're a fashion statement for the off season.
That's your disclaimer.
Yeah. If you want something for the season, you got to get something with Cobby on it. The mascot, the corn guy. I love you, Linda. I do. But that's my statement, and I'm going with it. Branson Chab gives us a super chat, and he says there's a bowl game still in sight. Todd?
It takes 6 wins to get to a bowl game.
Out of 10 more games.
We have 10 more games.
Yes.
And, I'm not gonna count Nebraska out of a bowl game until they have 7 losses.
Right. 8.
Well, if we have 7, we can't win 6.
No, but we can go 5 and 7. You know how many?
Oh, you don't accept bowl bids.
Yes, you do. You do when
no,
you're
you don't.
It's 3 extra weeks of practice.
Oh, Jesus.
You want to be the stand-up guy. I want to be kind of I want to be Deion Sanders, goddammit. I want to make shit up. I want to come up with, I was extremely disrespected when nobody disrespected his ass at all. And then I want to be his son who goes up and flashes his expensive watch in people's face when he thinks they're actually standing on the buffalo because they're being disrespectful when all they were doing was praying. This is about as dumb as shit gets. And then somebody says, well, they tried to hit us with the punt. Did you see our punters during the game? My God. Listen, we all know that this is part of a scheme or part of a thing that people do. But my problem with it is they did this to Matt Rhule, and I think we can all agree. I don't know, maybe Buffs fans won't, but I think we can agree that Matt Rhule has been a pretty stand-up guy. In fact, his press conference today, he said, I have never disrespected an opponent in my life, and I have no plans to. And gee whiz, like, look at this. Does Deion look disrespected here? No, he doesn't. He looks happy. He's getting a hug from the opposing coach. What
that could be tongue in the ear.
It could be a tongue in the ear, Todd. I guess some people make that face when they get a tongue in their ear. You could be right about that. I never thought of it that way, but that's why I have you.
Here, there is, I guess a way to motivate where you create a false narrative.
Yes.
And, it isn't enough that, it's Colorado, Nebraska. And, early on after Colorado won the week before, you heard a little bit coming out about, yes, we know it's a big game with Nebraska. And, Deion says, no, we're not going to wear red, kind of buying into, some aspects of the rivalry, acknowledging that it's a big game. But then, Deion Sanders he's an attention hawk. Deion, for his entire public career, has always tried to make it about him. And, so he had to figure out a way to make it about him. And so he creates this false narrative. First, you heard Deion talking about it's personal. Well, what's personal? Comments that Coach Matt Rhule made this summer when he was asked about building programs. And he said, in essence, you can build a program by gutting the one that you have, tearing it all down, which is what Deion did, and we'll talk more about that, or you can build for the long term. And what you had, folks, is you had two prime examples of coaches taking a different approach to restoring a program. And one certainly is paying, short-term benefits. And there are a lot of people, I read a lot of Nebraska fans. Why didn't we do this? Why didn't Matt Rhule completely, clean house? Why didn't Trev hire a coach that would do the same thing that Deion did? Yeah. Well, I got news for you. Deion Sanders is one of what, 2, 3, maybe coaches out there that could completely tear a program down and recruit the kind of people. I mean, you look at the kind of athletes that Deion Sanders has been able to recruit at Colorado. There aren't other coaches out there that can do that. Maybe one or two others. Where's Deion Sanders going to be in 2-3 years? Is he going to be at Colorado? I mean, that's all hypothetical. The way I've been asking people, because I can't find it myself, Deion Sanders has coached his kids ever since they were old enough to put on a football helmet. I'm not sure that Shedeur Sanders has ever played football for another head coach. There's going to be 5 or 6 NFL jobs open next year. Both of his sons. One son, his eligibility is done. Shiloh's eligibility is done. Shedeur can go. You tell me.
Okay, we're going to take some comments. You guys could comment on Todd's comments, and then there'll be a comment-ception. Okay, forget it. Samuel Smith, John, quick question. If Nebraska is so good, why don't you live there? Because I left in 1987 when I graduated from the University of Nebraska, and there was a huge lack of jobs in Nebraska. And there are 2 other reasons why I don't live in Nebraska, and that is because part of my family's there. And so I moved to Minnesota years ago because it was one state in the nation I'd been to that I liked, that nobody in my family lives here. Okay. And the other bonus is nobody in my wife's family lives here either. And I love these people. I do. If you remember the movie, the musical Fiddler on the Roof, there's a part where one of the villagers asks the rabbi, is there a prayer for the czar? And the rabbi responds by saying, may God bless and keep the czar far away from us. And that's how I feel about my family. And I love them dearly, but over there and not all of us together at one time, because everybody's like me. And my God, that's hard to take on every time we get to. Okay. That was a long explanation.
John, I want you to respond to this one. Jeff Kirschenberger says, should never expect a first-year coach to be 2-0. Never, ever.
Well, I think if you were playing some of the other teams that some of the schools have played, you know what I mean? I mean, Penn State has played what? Delaware, and who'd they play the first week?
I don't know.
Who did? I'm not thinking of them off the top of my head, but Minnesota's played us, and then they played Eastern Michigan. Most of these teams are playing, their preseason schedule, which any more non-conference schedules are pretty crappy. But I think the expectation is correct, especially when you're having to take a program that's been driven so far into the ground and try to build off that. Roger Moore says, as soon as Deion leaves, so will the Colorado program. I think that, if Deion Sanders, if Deion Sanders can do anything with Colorado, I mean, look at how miserable they've been. I did that interview with Jack Barsh the other night, and one of the things he pointed out was they had like one coach in 25 years who was actually hired away and not fired. And that guy is now suspended and fired at Michigan State. So, if Deion Sanders does anything at Colorado, maybe it'll show that Colorado can actually have an athletic department and have success and have something fun. Listen, I don't hate Colorado so much that I wish them, everybody to have sores all over their body or something, like some Old Testament biblical plagues on them. So, yeah, I think they'll be better off with Deion Sanders no matter what.
Well, and I want to go back. Stay right there, though. I'm going to kind of talk out of both sides of my mouth. My question is, which I posed earlier, is how long will Deion Sanders be there? But the reality is, if Deion Sanders chooses to hang around Colorado, he could build an incredibly strong program at Colorado. Young men are attracted to that brash, trash talking type of culture. And I don't know that there's anybody that can out recruit Deion Sanders. I really don't. You think about what he was able to do at Jackson State. He pulled in the #1 recruit in the country to an FCS program.
Was that Travis Hunter at the time?
That was Travis Hunter.
Okay.
So think about that one.
Plus we don't always need to take shots at the Buffs fans. Our community will do that for us. Fred Sacco with the super chat. Buffs fans equal Homer Simpson when he met Sting. I'm your biggest fan. I've recorded all your songs off the radio. You are a popcorn fart. Okay. Are you watching the comments? Because there's a lot of them.
I'm having a hard time. I mean, I'm old.
Oh, you're not that old. Just stop it with the old stuff. Kendall Ellington says crybabies are crying up a storm. I assume that's probably me. Yes. Okay. Well, there you go, Kendall. You got your comment in there. You did. Let's see. Nadia, who was here last week, we might as well show hers. Nadia Price says Nebraska is done. Face it. Nadia, Nebraska has not yet begun.
That was good.
Yeah, that's the answer to that. I could sing the Carpenters song, but nobody wants to hear that. Adam Martin, Satterfield taking lots of heat. What's he really supposed to call with the lack of playmakers?
This is kind of an interesting one because we heard a lot and saw a lot on Twitter after the game from South Carolina fans where, Satterfield was the coordinator there last year. I think the sample size is a little light right now to, make vast judgments on Satterfield. I'll tell you something I saw that I really didn't like, and that was in the Minnesota game with 7 minutes to go in the game, and he called 3 consecutive pass plays. I didn't understand that. I mean, you recognize that you have to, have a running game. To time of possession is important right now for this football team. And I really didn't understand that. But, what did Satterfield do wrong Saturday out at Colorado? What aspect of the offense of his play calling was so bad?
At Colorado?
Yeah.
I don't think that the problem was the plays, the execution of the plays. And I think, Jeff Sims, the Jeff Sims calling for the hike when the motion man is coming across was the one that really got me. That just like, oh God, 2 times we were going down and we were going to score potentially. And he threw those away. He botched them. And it's just.
Well, and people were saying, then put him under center. Well, yeah, you could put him under center. But how much of that had you worked on, that week? How much of that under center was in the game plan? So, I don't know that Marcus Satterfield, in this case, I don't think that he's the one that we should be pointing fingers at, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Oh, my God, there's a lot of these. Okay, Caleb Ward says he tried to do a super chat, but it wouldn't work. And he said, please read mine. I assume this is it. Colorado fans are like roaches. There's nothing good about them. They scatter when the lights come on, and they could probably live for an extended period without their head.
That's pretty good.
That is good. That was very good, Caleb. Oh my God, I can't read that one. Caleb Tim says, do you think Nebraska would be better off going with an actual recruit for the quarterback position, not the transfer portal? I mean, the last good quarterback we had, in my opinion, was Taylor Martinez. Well, you know what? We'll probably find out next year when, Danny Kalen shows up.
Danny Kalen.
Along with, what is it, two receivers out of
Bellevue West.
I don't remember my Nebraska high school.
And they have a losing record so far this season.
Okay, Branson Chubb, another super chat. Michigan State is screwed.
Yeah.
What do you say about this?
Well, first of all, Brenda Tracy should be familiar to Nebraska fans.
Yeah.
Back in the first year of Mike Riley's regime, she actually came to campus. She was a rape victim, became an advocate, and her experience being a target of rape was with some Oregon State players while Mike Riley was the coach. And, that was something that really impressed me about Mike Riley, bringing her here. And so, she's been all over the country advocating for Title IX rights and rights of women. And, I don't know. Stupid is as stupid does.
That was, that's going to cost that guy $80 million, and then he's going to get divorced, and there goes the rest of his money. It's unbelievably dumb thing to do. And I see where he's doubling down in public now that the relationship was consensual. And I guess I'm not sure what you do with that, but Michigan, you know what? I think to Branson's point, Michigan State is kind of screwed. You know what? Michigan State, let's take a different perspective on this. Michigan State might be better off than they were before because they had an $80 million contract with Mel Tucker, and Mel Tucker wasn't really showing much progress. So, they might have saved themselves $80 million because the man's an idiot, and they can go get a different coach. Maybe they could hire Deion Sanders.
He won't go there.
Why?
Why would he go to Michigan State?
Because there's no mountains. He's sick of the mountains already. Andrew Barlow, super chat. Why do you think Nebraska has such a problem with getting a quarterback that halfway decent? It seems like a curse on Nebraska. Well, Andrew, let me ask this question. I'll be one of those annoying people that answers a question with a question. Do you think that Nebraska is prepared to pay $5 million a year for a quarterback? Because I can tell you Jeff Sims is not making that much money. And if you're not willing to pay like between $2 and $5 million a year for a quarterback, you're probably not going to get in the top 5. And that's the reality of the situation. So where are you going to get what's going to happen here? This is a new world we're in, and you're pretty much going to have to start buying a lot of your players, unless you're Deion Sanders and you have the cachet. Is that the right word, Todd? He has.
There
cachet.
You go. I like that. Yeah.
He has the cachet to bring players because they want to be part of that. I don't know, the whole, fluffy, poofy thing. I don't know what to say.
Let's think about Nebraska quarterbacks here a little bit. I saw it come in earlier, and I'm sorry I didn't mark who had it, but one of you out there mentioned Taylor Martinez was the last good quarterback we had. Now, I'm going to be really careful here because I was not a fan of Taylor Martinez. Yes, he set a lot of records, no question about it. But a bigger question is, I understand Adrian Martinez was a fairly highly rated quarterback when he came to Nebraska. Arguably, we could say that he wasn't used well. You might be able to make that argument. But, in my opinion, Nebraska has only truly had one premier quarterback coming out of high school that everybody else in the country wanted, or the top teams in the country wanted. And that was Tommy Frazier. And that's been a long time ago.
Oh my God. You put it like that, Todd, it hurts.
Well, I'm
could have softened that up on the delivery there.
But when you think about it, that's pretty much the case. Nebraska has had some good quarterbacks because when they were rolling, you needed a quarterback that could fit into the system. You know, they always talk about system quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And Nebraska was able to find those guys that could fit into the system. Well, right now, we've had so much turnover and so many changes. What kind of quarterback is it that we want?
Dylan Raiola.
He'll be here in a couple years.
Caleb Ward, super chat. New Nebraska fans might live in the 90s, but at least we haven't been hiding since then. I don't know if we do live in the 90s.
I think there are quite a few that do.
Is there?
Yeah, I think so.
Why do you think that, Todd?
Well, because, you know, it's the expectation that we ought to be able to just do it now, do it like we used to, you know, and you know, it's an interesting fan base right now because I think you have some of those folks. We also have a whole generation of fans, you know, that have never seen this team be a successful team.
Yeah.
And their patience has run out. I mean, patience has run out from those people who are living in the 90s. And patience is running out from younger generation because they haven't been able to experience the thing that the people in the 90s got to experience that they have all heard about, you know?
Yeah. David Matney, super chat. After these two losses, what do you think our chances are of going bowling? Todd?
Well, I think we still have a chance. There are 10 games remaining. We have to win 6. Now, John claims we can get in on 5. But, you know, until we have a total of 7 losses, I'm still going to maintain that we can get to a bowl game. And, you know, John's been on this a lot closer than I have been. I actually watched quite a bit of football this weekend. But, you know, John stays with this stuff really well throughout the season. The Big Ten West isn't looking like you know, a murderer's row, so to speak. If you'd have watched Iowa play against Iowa State, that was not an outstanding display by Iowa. Wisconsin got beat. I watched part of that game. We should have beaten Minnesota. Yeah. Illinois apparently isn't the Illinois of last year. So I'm not saying I'm not giving up hope.
Put it this way, David. If our offense doesn't have to score 40 points a game, our offense has to score what Brian that just completely went to hell. Brian Ferentz scores. Well, his target. If we can score 25 points a game, we're going to go bowling. If we can't figure out how to score 25 points a game, we're not going bowling. I think that's really as simple as it is. If they can come up with a way to put points on the board with this offense, and realistically with Jeff Sims leading it, because Matt Rhule said today he's still the starting quarterback, then, you know, I think that, I mean, look at the mess our schedule is. Michigan State now is, you know, without a coach, kind of derailed. Northwestern has destroyed their program. Purdue doesn't look as horrible as I thought they were. Illinois' defense without Brian Walters, who went to Purdue, they're not good, at least right now. But these, again, if we're going to say it's only been 2 games for us, it's only been 2 games for them too. So, you know, things might change as we move on through the season. Fred Sacco, God, you make me nervous, Fred. CU fans are more nervous about the Oregon game than anyone Mel Tucker calls to play whack-a-mole. Okay, then. They probably are. Colorado has Colorado State this weekend, and Colorado State is not very good. So they are probably going to win that game, Colorado, and still be part of the mass giant media story that they are. Cornborn Mike, hey fellas, what do you think we should do now? Keep Jeff Sims and establish the offense Satterfield wants to run for the future, or change the offense to adapt to the team we have and try to win now? Honestly, I think he wants to get Jeff Sims to adapt to the team we have now, because we don't have any wide receivers that are really threats. And Malachi, my God, Malachi Coleman, he's obviously not there yet. So I think right now they are working with the team that we have, not the one that they want to have.
Exactly. I think they're doing a couple of different things. I think that they're working with Jeff Sims to have a successful offense this year, but they're recruiting, because if you look at their top 2 quarterback targets, they are not the multi-purpose, if you will, dual threat. I guess that's the term. They're not the dual threat type of quarterbacks. So I think that they're going to move towards a little bit different look in terms of the quarterback play. But I think for the here and now, I think that they're doing what they can with the team that they have.
Oh, keep going. My God, I'm trying to go through these comments.
Well, here, Todd, I disagree. This is from Blaine Cole. Todd, I disagree. It took 20 long years to get to the 90s. Yeah, Blaine, you and I are on the same page with that. I just didn't mention that. It took a hell of a long time and a lot of patience from Nebraska fans. And, we don't need to rewrite that history. We don't need to, retell the story. But do recall that one of the greatest football coaches in college football history was very close to leaving to go to where, John? Where did he almost go, Coach?
Colorado.
Fucker. He was in Colorado.
Yeah, Todd, we don't have to go through this. And it didn't take, it might have taken 20 years to get to the 90s, but it didn't take 20 years for him to be incredibly competitive.
Well, and there's some truth to that, too. I mean, we're talking on 2 different levels. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Good. Wait, Travis Adair, super chat. Would Nebraska fire Matt Rhule if he goes 0-12? No. I don't think he's going to go 0-12, number one. But you can't listen. Who was the coach at Southern Miss about probably a decade ago, and he went 0-12. But the problem that he had was he completely lost his team. There was nobody playing for anything. Matt Rhule said today he's going to do his things his way. It takes longer than Deion Sanders does. And that's just how things are going to go. And so, no. And if he goes 0-12 and there are egregious problems with how he does it, or problems that are behind the scenes and stuff like that, then there's a possibility. But, here's the thing that I want to bring up. And this is hit this thing. When that other guy was here that we fired, just that last guy that we fired, all of us said, we can't keep firing coaches and expect to get anywhere. That narrative has been completely shot out the window. So now there's these people out there going, well, they're to fire that Satterfield guy. They need to fire that Rhule guy. They need to. I'm not saying you, Travis, but good God, what happened to we can't keep firing coaches,
Don Collins says that's ridiculous. There have been some very good Nebraska quarterbacks beyond Tommy Frazier.
That's what I thought, Todd.
Okay, well, let me just ask this question. Since Tommy Frazier, how many first-team all-conference quarterbacks has Nebraska had? Yes, they had a Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah.
Okay. Outside of him.
Eric Crouch? Oh, that was him.
Eric, yeah, he was him. That was him.
Oh, Zach Lee. What about that one guy that's a coach in the NFL now?
Zach Taylor?
Yeah.
I don't believe he was I don't think he was
Well, he wasn't, but I think he was a pretty decent quarterback.
Pretty decent.
Just hamstrung. You can't have good quarterbacks with shitty coaching staffs, Todd, and we've kind of, gone through our share here.
I'm not arguing. I was just trying to make we can move on.
Wade Farr says, why did Nebraska whiff when trying to tackle so much? And where's our meanness of poisoning players? I mean, helping them up, laying off instead of smashing and crushing the other team. Wade, I don't think there was a lot of whiffing going on until the second half.
Nebraska tackled really well.
Yeah, they did tackle pretty well.
I think that's something that's much improved.
But, you know, here's the thing. Nebraska has kept rushing to an amazingly low level, 1.8 yards per carry through 2 games. I think they're tackling way better than they have in years. Meanness to opposing players. I think you saw a couple of those things, but the lineman, you know, if your quarterback gets hit, you need to go hit a guy and kill him. But laying off instead of smashing and crushing the other team. I don't know. You saw that sequence that Fox Sports has put out of, who was it? Borkercher blocking Travis Hunter, and Travis Hunter tears his helmet off. I think that's kind of what we want to see. And you saw it. Here's the thing. You have 11 guys on a side, right? On offense and defense. And if one of those guys is out of position, or they're reaching, or they're not doing the right thing, or taking bad angles, they don't know the call, either on offense or defense, you're not going to be that successful. So trying to get 11 guys to do the same thing, row the boat in the same direction, Todd, ouch. Well, that's hard to do in the course of a very short time.
Ben Scott plays with an edge, and there were a couple of different times where he was fortunate that he didn't get the flag. In fact, on at least one play, the Colorado player got the flag because he reacted. Ben Scott was out there protecting his quarterback. And so we do have a few of those guys, but no, we don't have the nasty that you want to see. I don't disagree with that. I think we have more of it, but it's not there yet.
Okay, we're trying to keep up with the comments. Linnea says she's sick of all this coddling. Linnea in Nebraska, she's the only one. Bless you, Linnea. I am sick of all this coddling to Sims because they don't want him to lose his confidence. Well, he might be that far ahead of the other two that they kind of depended upon him to actually win games this year. So I don't here's the thing. We had some arguing going on in Slack about how Anthony Grant fumbled and he's not playing. Jeff Sims has had 83 fumbles in 2 games and he's still playing. And Brian Johannes, one of our guys that does the NFL stuff, Huskers in the NFL on coordination.com, said quarterbacks are always held to different standards. And he's right about that. So if that's part of it, there you go.
Well, the thing about that too is even the announcers in the game made some pretty blunt statements. You usually don't hear them make, but Gus Johnson even said that he said point blank that Jeff Sims is costing Nebraska this football game, and Joel Klatt was saying before the end of the first half that for the sake of the team and for the sake of Jeff Sims, he needs to be pulled. And, when the forum that, I guess the thread that I was on, I thought they should have pulled him after that last turnover, that interception in the first. Well, they should have pulled him after the fumble before he threw the interception. And I guess the point is that Jeff Sims is a competitor. Okay. He competes. His confidence is low. But what do competitors do? They tend to try too damn hard. And another mistake was just going to happen. Jeff Sims didn't quit. He kept playing hard, and he just continued to compound his mistakes. My opinion, they should have put him on the bench before that last interception and just go conservative with the offense and get your butt to the locker room for halftime.
Caleb Ward, super chat. Which is worse, playing a quarterback not to hurt his confidence, or playing a quarterback despite it destroying the confidence of the team? Todd?
That's $1 million question right there.
It is.
And I
to get it answered, you'd have to give us $1 million super chat.
I guess I think that at that point in time, you stuck with him. But when his performance is costing the team, I think you got to defer to the team. Yeah, and you work on his confidence off the field. You just, maybe you get him to calm down and try to focus and whatnot, and you give him a start in the second half. But you could just feel it was going to come. It wasn't going to get any better there in the first half.
Okay, I lost it. Travis Adair with Super Chat. You guys really think Scott Frost was as bad as what? I'm sorry. You guys really think Scott Frost was bad? He made me say his name. See Chad Morris, Arkansas, on the ESPN highlights for all the wrong reasons. We got you beat. Do you remember Chad Morris, Todd?
I remember Chad Morris.
Was he as bad as Travis says he was?
Chad Morris was not good.
Andrew Barlow, Super Chat. How many years of Jeff Sims is he eligible for? I think Jeff Sims is eligible for his entire life for himself. Ha ha ha. I had to shoot that one in there. Jeff Sims is, let's see, what is he? He's got 2 years left, I believe. And I believe he played as a freshman, so he may have a redshirt year. But he has this year and next year, it's still eligible at Nebraska. And, honestly, if it isn't vastly improved, I mean, we do have Danny Kalin is probably the big one coming in next year. And I wouldn't think that we're going to go through 3 years of this because, well, unless he's reached Heisman level caliber.
I wouldn't be surprised if they go into the portal again for another year. If Heinrich Haarberg isn't ready to step up and start, it would not surprise me.
I still think they should do that package thing where they bring Haarberg in for some possessions and he runs like options, or he runs wildcat, or he runs like a zone read, inverted veer type stuff. Charles Hellett says, what was the deal with the kicker getting hit and no call? Not even a comment from the announcers. I don't know if they even saw it because they didn't mention it.
Wasn't he blocked into didn't our guy kind of block the guy into the
I think
kicker?
He did. That's why the call was. Is that still a rule?
Yes.
Okay.
Here's one I think is important. Aaron Keene says ball security is football 101 from Pee Wee leagues on up. Real question, can anyone truly fix the proclivity for errors that Sims has shown after playing for so many years? I think that's what worries me, Aaron. We knew what we were getting, and in the sample size that we have right now, it doesn't look promising.
Wade Farr, who was at fault for hiking the ball into the motion man twice, and there were 2 more that could have been. Jeff Sims has to wait for the motion man to get by the center before he calls for the ball on that specific play that happened. There may be plays where we hike the ball directly to a guy coming in motion. I mean, that's one of the reasons why you send that guy in motion there. But in that case, Jeff Sims should have let the motion guy get by. It's just, I don't know what. Literally like Adam Carricker made the comment that he said, I hate to say this, but Jeff Sims reminds me of some kids I coach in middle school.
Yeah.
And, that's what your brains can do. You. I mean, if you're pressing or you're, don't have confidence and things like that.
David Matney says, how do we correct the false starts? You figured that one out, Dave, and you're going to be a head coach somewhere. Geez Louise. That was the one thing that I had really hoped we'd see turn around this year. I mean, again, Matt Rhule talked about accountability, talked about disciplined play, and not only did he talk about it, but from what we heard during the offseason, during spring ball and throughout things, I mean, he had things in place to try to instill that. And that whole accountability thing. I don't know, man. I am so frustrated with that. Just nothing drives me nuts more than those false starts.
My God, now it's getting hot in here.
I've got another one I'll throw up here.
Okay.
Shay Blutarski says, the worst thing I learned about Matt Rhule this weekend is that he's a Kenny Chesney fan. I do take exception with that, Shay. I'm Kenny Chesney. I like Kenny Chesney a lot. But, I guess to each their own.
I don't listen to country music at all. I listen to the old country music. I think I've said that before. There was something I was going to put up here. I think. Gavin Stutler, how much experience did Rhule have before the season? You guys hired a novice that has zero experience in this era. Gavin, everybody has zero experience in this era. This era has just begun. And next year, it will be a brand new era. I mean, the transfer portal just began a year ago? And the Neal era just began a year ago. So I assume that's what you're asking. Otherwise, Matt Rhule has been around for a while. He's had stints at Temple and Baylor where he resurrected both those programs. He was the only guy to ever beat Penn State from Temple. Baylor, he reached pinnacles after Art Briles destroyed that program. We could go into the whole Art Briles on the Oklahoma sideline thing this weekend, which was kind of stupid. But I don't think we hired a novice. I think we have hired a guy that has a lot of experience in doing what we need to do, which is rebuild a program that's become a piece of shit. It's really what it is. And Fred says, Gavin, stop it. Get help. There you go. Let's see. UMKC73 says Rhule says accountability comes in year 3. I didn't read that, but I'm sorry. I got sucked into the comment thing and okay. You're supposed to take over when I'm doing this, Todd. No gods, no masters says, when does the sellout streak end? Never. It never ends. There you go. That's the answer to that. Because we're going to be we're going to get to a bowl game this year, and it will be fine in the long term. There you go.
Sam Roberts, Goff said, the best part of this whole situation, I almost guarantee that in the year we'll beat Iowa. By then we should have all the turnover shit fixed. Yeah, we'll beat Iowa.
Okay, Donnie says, when are we getting the truffle shuffle, Todd? You know what? Jack, legit leg kick guy, didn't show up. So he was the guy that asked for it. He's not here. So, Donnie, I'm sorry.
I'm not sure what the truffle shuffle even is.
It's a truffle shuffle, Todd. Here, do you want to see it? I think you get up and you just point at your butt and say, there you go, Colorado fans. There's my truffle shuffle.
Okay.
I don't really know what it is either. Okay, Alex Fall, super chat. Sims has dominated discussion rightfully, but what have been notable or dare say even positive developments from the offense since last year? Go, Todd.
Offensive line is better. Are they great? No, they're better. Gabe Irvin is, when he runs north and south, he is an effective ball carrier. I'm going to stop right there because I'm not sure I can come up with anything else.
I think between week 1 and week 2, you saw, I think that number one, we're running counter plays that I think can be very effective. And what you're seeing is that the guys with their blocking are getting a little bit better. I think they slow down. Definitely improve from week 1 to week 2. Now, Travis, come on. Travis Justice and Dr. Rob Zadiska have a video out where they break down one play where Gabe Irvin went for 22 yards, I think, and he could have broke it if Thomas Fidone would have made one more block or would have made a block. And I think those plays, I think Haas called them bunch plays. I think we're better at. We're seeing our linemen move. We're seeing our linemen pull early. And I think that's good. Bryce Benhart, somebody made the comment on our Slack that he is playing at the level of an NFL player. And that's pretty phenomenal. Now, is it showing in points? No, it's not showing in points because every time we get near the end zone, we give the other team the ball. It's not part of the game to give the other team the ball, at least when you want to be on the winning side. So we got to figure out that don't give the ball to the other team until you're standing in the end zone with the ball. The ref has put his hands in the air like this, and then you could go, here, Sparky, I caught this ball. You can have it. Then you give the ref the ball, and then you get a 15-yard unsportsmanlike penalty. Okay.
Yeah.
Was that good?
That was real good.
Okay.
I hope the offense can iron out the mistakes, because there is a better offense there. But if they can't get out of their way, it's going to be ugly. It's going to continue to be ugly.
Jack the Ripper, whatever happened to the draw play? The play that Sims scored on was a quarterback draw.
You see it with quarterbacks. Rarely do you see it with running backs anymore. You don't even see it in the NFL with running backs much anymore.
Oh, gosh, excuse me. I think the regular draw play has been replaced by a lot of other different options on the same concept. Like when we were in high school, the quarterback was taught, now the quarterback, when he goes back to pass, he just holds the ball like he regularly does. When we were taught in high school, the quarterback would go back with the ball higher so the defense would see he had the ball, and then he'd wait and hand it off on a draw. I don't think they do anything like that. Plus, let's face it. I mean, these offenses are way more advanced than anything. I realize it was decades ago that I ever saw in high school, but that was kind of a silly comment. They're a lot further down the line.
Adam Martin says, concerned. What did you do with my?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, concerned the defense will let down unless the offense improves soon. That's a challenge that the coaching staff has, is to keep this team united. I think that the defense is going to play solid through the season. I just got a feeling that there's a strong enough culture that's built with that team that they'll continue to work hard. Now, if the offense continues to throw games away, that certainly could turn. But it's going to be a challenge for the coaches to keep this team together. Yes, absolutely.
Ted Hilker says Jay Foreman read my prediction on air today, 6-6. 6-6, I think, is, at this point, it's good. If we start winning like the next 4 games, including Michigan, suddenly we'll all be like, we need to go 10-2, and then we'll be angry if we don't. That's who we are.
Husker Chuck says the offense has 3 problems. 1, the quarterback, obvious. 2, left side of the O-line, particularly pass pro. And 3, the wide receiver room was concerned this year before we lost 2 of our 4 best. Yeah. You've nailed it, Husker Chuck.
Yeah.
That's that pretty much is right on the head.
Fred Sacco, super chat. Apparently CU, Colorado University, stole an Iowa cheerleader and ran her onto the field before the game, so I hear. When Ralphie, the live Buffalo mascot, took the field, I looked at it and I thought, that Ralphie looks a lot smaller than the Ralphies I remember.
It's a baby Ralphie.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a youngin'. Okay.
Because, buffaloes are giant freaking animals, and that one looks small. Okay. Great. I'm running out of English, Todd. Frank Romano said, D will be fine. You have some older guys who want to play at the next level, and we got great youth who can stay up. Per the game book is the official document that's released that is that contains the stats. Okay? So the game book showed, I believe, that Nebraska had 29 players participate on defense. 29. So that's a lot more than the 11 that you usually play.
Yeah. Linda Wilkins, Todd, I hope you have not lost that loving feeling. No, I still got that loving feeling. Not sure what it's directed at. Still love the Huskers. Still love them.
2-year-old bison. Linda Wilkins, that was a 2-year-old bison. Somebody said it's a buffalo. It's not a, it is a buffalo. It's a bison, not a buffalo. I don't know what the difference is.
I sat that day out of my animal science. Husker Chuck says, what is Prochaska's status? Corcoran played every offensive snap versus CU. Well, he must not be ready to go yet. Prochaska's number was called. He was the one that stuck his hand out on the sideline when the Colorado player came over and drew the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. So he did have a stat in the game.
Allie Heller says, when did we get to see you at a home game? You know, I'm not sure if I'll be able to make it. I have to figure out. Well, number one, I hadn't planned anything because it's easier to do this stuff when I'm at home. And number two, right now, travel is hell. And number three, getting up in the morning has been hell because my headaches are really incredibly powerful. Look what I did today, Todd. You see that?
Yeah.
Delta 9 gummies.
There you go.
And I went over and talked to this guy, you know, because marijuana is legal now in Minnesota. And I said, I have terrible headaches. And one of my drugs is having problems getting renewed. That helps. And I said, he said, take like 1/4, a tiny bit of these because I just want to microdose. I don't want to be stoned. I tried that a little while ago and it sucked. I hated every bit of it.
Andrew C says, can someone suggest that we run every play for a couple of series and just see what happens? I did suggest that. Apparently it did not make its way to Coach Satterfield, but I did make that suggestion.
I think that, I think we honestly, you mean run the same play for a couple series?
Oh, run the ball, run the damn ball.
Oh, okay. You mean run every play? Oh, okay. When I read that, I said that we execute every play. Okay, let's move on. Aaron Drury says this whole fucking chat is pedantry. Yeah, well, pedantry you, buddy.
Do you go to no, I got nothing. I got nothing with that.
Okay. Linnea says run the damn ball. Fred with it. Okay. Oh my God. Some of these comments. Oh God. There's some about Colorado.
Hey, I got one right here. Roger Moore.
Okay.
Option just once. They did. They ran an option once.
Yeah.
It was either in the first or second series. They ran it once. And should have pitched the ball. Did not.
Yeah, that's true. Speed option.
Yep.
He wasn't under center. I would like to see them run maybe more of that. Maybe they're gun shy because of fumbling. I don't. Maybe when you're an offensive coordinator and you like run some option plays and then you have like your Sunday morning, you know, you can't go to brunch with your other offensive coordinator buddies, but they probably have like some kind of FaceTime or Zoom meeting. And like some guy from, I don't know, from Georgia or something will look at Marcus Satterfield and go, you can run the option, huh? And then offensive coordinators all feel bad about this because let's face it, they do some weird things like that 3 passes in a row thing at Minnesota or over the past, God knows how many years, how many times have we seen Nebraska have success at running the ball and then suddenly we start throwing the ball. I think we did that in every Wisconsin loss ever. Now I get it if you get behind, but for God's sakes.
What do you think about this one, John?
Don Collins says,
do you want the offense is not a problem. The defense is strong. The only reason Nebraska is 0-2 are the turnovers. All self-induced. That can be fixed.
Well, I like that's kind of the words are going away. Positive. That's what that is. That's kind of positive because it says, if we fix the turnover, I kind of believe that. I think that if you get, his offense looks, I think, decent enough. They've gained yardage. They've had over 200 yards running in each of the last 2 games. I mean, last year we only did that early in the season against not very good opponents. So I think if, you can clean that up, that Nebraska is going to be fine.
Yeah, I agree with that too, Don. And I guess maybe I didn't articulate it as clearly as you have.
Oh, Todd, we're past an hour.
It's kind of gone fast.
It has. There's a lot of people here. Jay Jasinski, not a fan of Deion. I guess I have some bitterness yet for Florida State. That's understandable. Here's the thing that I resent about this. I don't hate Deion Sanders. I don't. But I'm kind of getting there really quickly because, the whole disrespect thing, I know it's a thing they do, like we said earlier, but don't do it to my coach, Matt Rhule, because he's a good guy and he's a respectful guy and he's a guy who does things right. And I think if you're going to just put shit out there about him being disrespectful, it goes beyond just this is a shtick that helps us get, motivated. That's the part that irritates me. Do you have any closing remarks?
Yeah, I do. Do you want to hear them?
Oh, sure. We probably should be done because I'm running out of words here.
We have Northern Illinois coming to town. Night game, first game. Hopefully we see a healthy team out there. I haven't heard anything on the injury front other than Sims, and they were really tight-lipped about him. But I'm going to be excited. Night games at Memorial Stadium are fun. I'm looking forward to being down there and watching it. If Nebraska wins this game and then beats Louisiana Tech, they'll be 2-2, headed against Michigan. People can say what they want to about what could happen during that game, but let's just see. Let's just see where the chips fall, and it's still too doggone early to give up on this team.
Andy Harris says at halftime, that coach we should have hired, Urban Meyer, said Nebraska is a good team.
That's not what he wrote there. He said Urban Meyer, and I already said that, Andy.
Okay. Don Collins is going to finish this off with, y'all better get on board. There you go. And okay. Yeah, Adam Martin says coming back to the Sandhills anytime soon, Todd.
Yeah, it'll be a little while yet. Probably in October I'll get up there. I think. We've kind of changed our travel schedule this year a little bit. I'm going to be spending a lot more time in southern Nebraska and up in northeast Nebraska.
Okay. I think that's going to do it. You know what? Thank you. There was over 300 people here at one point. We appreciate the support. It's always fun to talk with you guys about Husker football. I obviously don't get out much. I guess I got out to the Minnesota game last week. I don't get out a lot. So it's fun for me. I enjoy these, and I enjoy talking to Todd. At least we have this moment in our lives. So there you go. Northern Illinois coming up, and we didn't even talk about them, which means I probably should do a video or something about Northern Illinois. Okay. Anything else from you, Todd?
I got nothing, John.
Okay. Good night, Todd.
Good night, John.